Hello guys. So today we're going to be looking at time elapsed. Okay? Now, in time elapsed, we're going to be talking about the idea basically of how things are, well, as I say here, how much time has passed. Elapsed, passed. Okay. Now, let's get ourselves ready. We're going to start by a simple easy one. As long as you remember, this one's sort of easy because you remember the shorthand. That's that one. And the shorthand points to an hour, and the longhand points to well, right there it tells you, minute. So when we look at this one, we read the clock as saying 7:05. Okay? As they tell you right there. Sort of obvious, but hey. Now, that's a clock with the hours and minutes. So their first work is simply looking at the hours and minutes times down here. Sorry, guys. Don't worry, I'm okay. Just a bit of a cough from allergies and drinking coffee. Now, I want you to look over here. We have start time and end time. So definitely working on elapsed time. They tell you right there. So the first off we have to do, of course, is read the clock. And they tell us even here that starts at 3:05 and ends at 3:45. We need to know, it says here, he has chess club practice every day after school. The clock above shows the start and end times of chess club practices. How long does Nicholas's chess club practice last? Now, when it says how long does it last, this is going to be subtraction work. That means we need to start with, well, we need to start with a bigger number first. In this case, it is, you look at the clock right there. If we draw a little line there, we're looking at a little bigger than I expected. But still, if we look at it, it's definitely drawing from 3 o'clock. Not yet. Not yet 4. Okay? There's my little clock. Now, I have my two times, 3:45 and 3:05. 3:05, 3:45. Which one should I go first? Well, 3:05 is on the bottom because it's a smaller time. 3:45 is on the top. Now this little subtraction work here is pretty easy because if you notice, we're not trying to change hours or anything like that. Very easy. So the answer, of course, was 40 minutes. Like I said, pretty easy one for you guys. Sometimes just get your mind looking at it and thinking about the idea again. Most of you guys should do pretty well with that. Now let's look at the next problem. Example 2 is just a bit harder. Example 2 says, Marcy started working on her math homework at 4:50. She finished working on her math homework at 5:25. Okay, how long did it take Marcy to finish her homework? Again, we're doing subtraction work. We can solve this in a couple ways. We could do subtraction literally, like write it down like this, 5:25 minus 4:50. But do you see the problem? This number, while we have smaller time as hours, and we still have to do some converting, and that means borrowing. But the problem is when we borrow, we're borrowing from the hours section right here. But we can't just say, oh, that's 10 minutes over here now, 10 more minutes. We can't. It's going to be a lot harder. It's actually, because remember, there aren't 10 tens here. Let me show you what I'm saying a little bit more. This 5 does not have 10, sorry, this 5 does not have 10 groups of 10 minutes, okay? It has 6 groups of 10 minutes, so it's actually much different to add it, all right, to carry over. So, you could do it this way. Let me show you a different way. I'm going to pull up my little pad, put that right there. All right, so I start with the fact that I'm talking about 5:25 and 4:50. Remember this one? All right, good. Well, what am I doing? Simply drawing a clock. Make it nice and big. Not perfect circle. Doesn't need to be perfect. Yeah, let's see. Can I change my colors? Doesn't really let me do much changing in colors. So, oh, highlighter. Sorry, guys. I'm goofing off a little here. Let me erase it. Let me erase that. Alright, so I'm just going to put my clock times on here. I have 12 at the top. 1. And put 3 right there because that's easier to remember. 6 down here, so I have 4 and 5 correctly placed. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there we go. They're all placed correctly. I'm going to draw my clock to my hands for 4:50. So 4:50 is almost 5. So put it right there. That's my hour hand. It's shorter. And my minute hand, I'm going to make it a little bit longer so it shows it. Okay. Now, I need to have it stop at 5:25. That means I'm going to go stop at the minute hand. This hand right here moves all the way over here. Now, if you look, what is each group showing us? How much is each little group I'm making here? How much am I counting by? Are you saying 5? I hope so, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm counting by 5s. So 5, 10, can't write it right there very well, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 35 minutes. Well, is that correct? Let's find out. So over here, let's look over here again. Alright, so I go over here, go my little subtraction. I remember that this is 5 hours, so I take 1 hour away. It's 4 hours left. I'm borrowing, not taking, I should say, I'm borrowing. And I'm borrowing, in an hour there's 60 minutes. I'm going to put 6 plus that 2, and that turns into 8. 8 groups of 10 minutes. So 5 minus 0 is 5 still. 8 minus 5 is 35. 4 minus 4 is 0. I'm going to leave it alone because I don't need to. And again, we come back to 35 minutes. I'm putting a little abbreviation there for minutes. So let's take a look at what they show us. Well, seeing what they said here, Marcy started work. I'm looking at the solution now. Marcy started working on her math homework at 10 minutes before 5. She finished her math homework at 25 after 5. Add 10 minutes to 25 to find out how long it took Marcy to do her homework. So what they're doing is a slightly different method. Let me show you what they did. Going back to our clock here, what they did was simple. We're going to go to, let's try this color, okay? They won't let me. Alright, so we're going to try this color here. Now, they said that right here is 10 minutes. Alright, pretty easy. And so they said since that's 10 minutes right there, and we know this is from here to here is 25. So this is 10, this is 25, because you remember that 0 right there to here is 25. Okay? So they simply said 25 plus 10. And that's what I did. Just count up to get to 0, get to 5 o'clock. 4:50, 5 more minutes, 4:55, 5 more minutes, 5 o'clock. So 10 minutes. Okay, so that's that example. A little bit tricky, a little bit strange. Let's see if I can get back to my original color. Hopefully. I don't know if I did or not. Not quite. Oh well. Anyways, back over here. Now let's look at example 3. So we had, for example 2, they're talking about the idea of a little bit different time and how to subtract or add and subtract was what they did for the harder work. Now, example 3. The start time is shown above. If the end time is 9:55, what is the elapsed time? So, here they're showing the time here is, if you look at the hour hand, let's look at that hour hand again. Is it 10 o'clock? No, it's still 9. And the minute hand, well, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm looking down below. They're saying 9:40. So there's 9:40. Okay? Now, And end time has to be 9:55. Okay? So all we have to do here, we're not changing hours. As they say, the time on the clock shown is 9:40. Since the end time is 9:55, the hours did not change. So all we have to do here is 9:55 minus 9:40, and did you do it? I bet you got already 15 minutes. That's a really easy one, isn't it? All we have to do in there is simply taking these two. The hardest thing to remember is when the time is a different hour. That's where it's a bit trickier. Okay, so looking down here at elapsed time again. Here again, they're add and subtract. So they say the clock time above is the time Wendy left home, 7:11. Ooh, it took her 23 minutes to get to school. So if it's 7:11, it takes her 23 minutes to get to school. We need to know what time she arrives at school. What does that sound like to you? Hopefully you're thinking it sounds a lot like adding, right? Because that's what they're saying right there. She's adding 7:11 plus 23, and it equals right there 7:34. Not too tricky. Okay? You have your starting time, you have your minutes there. The biggest thing to do when you have problems like these is to underline what you're seeing or make notes about what you're seeing. Example 2. Samantha worked on her math homework for 45 minutes. There's that number, 45. And she worked on her reading homework for 20 minutes. How many more minutes did her math homework take than her reading homework? So there we have that word. How many more than? I wonder, does that sound familiar to you guys? It should. We've seen this vocabulary before. We saw it when we did graphs. We saw it when we talked about measurements and weights. In other words, how many more than, if you remember writing in your notebook, is definitely talking about subtraction work. She did 45 minutes, and she did 20 minutes, and as they show it below, they're definitely doing subtraction work. So, very easy. 25 is the answer. Okay, the trick here, though, is to remember what they told you. It says it right there. How many more than? I'm even going to highlight it. That's how obvious it should be for you guys nowadays. See it? Don't forget the highlighting. Don't forget to read your vocabulary words. All right. All right, my favorite, number lines. I know, some of you guys probably hate number lines with me, but I find them really useful. So let's go through this one. Elapsed time is a measurement of how long an event lasts. I'm up here at the top in the blue. However, how long until an event happens. Number lines can be used to compare a time that has passed between two events. Use a number line to answer the following questions. So here we have a number line, 23 and 29. If you notice, are the two numbers on the number line where the red line is. John finishes homework in 29 minutes. Boom, right there. Eric finishes homework in 6 minutes less. 6 less minutes than John, as shown on the number line above. According to the number line, how many minutes does it take Eric to finish his homework? So what they did, they simply went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. And the answer was, obvious enough, 23. And that's how they did that, see? Okay. This one, they actually give the answer. Pretty easy for it, hopefully. You see the answer right here. They mark it for you. So, in this case, the biggest thing to remember is to pay attention to the question. Because if they wanted to trick you, for this example, this first example here, here's how they would trick you. If they wanted to trick you for here, here's what they do. They'd write, okay, so remember the question says, how many minutes does it take Eric to finish his homework? So they might write something like this. They might write the correct time, 23. They might write the time as 29. They might write 6. And they might write something silly like 35. Okay? So in other words, you're not paying attention. This one is the answer up here. This one's the answer because you count it back. And you knew this. How many minutes does Eric take to finish his homework? This one here was the start time, was the time of John. Okay, so that's why it's wrong, because it's not even the correct time. And this one down here is adding 6 to John's 29 minutes, so we got 35. And the last one, this is obviously wrong. This one is somebody who went blah blah blah. I'm not paying attention to my work. I'm not reading. And you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom, got it. It's wrong. Okay? Make sure you understand. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. This one was done. A was solved by going with this. 29 minus 6, 23. And counting backwards on number line. So let's look at down here more examples about elapsed time. Jason got on a bus in Princeton at 9:45 a.m. I'm going to circle that number. He reached Brooklyn at 11:30 a.m. So we have time, not how many minutes, not how many hours, but two different points on the number line of time. According to the number line given below, how much time did Jason spend traveling from Princeton to Brooklyn? So we look at this number line. There's a start time. Draw an arrow there, 9:45. There's the end time right there, 11:30. Do you know something about this number line? Are each of the tick marks labeled? You notice they're not labeled, right? Well, that tells us something. We need to think how much. Let's skip a little bit and look down here. In the given number line, each hour is split into 4 equal parts. So each part is 1/4 of an hour, or 15 minutes. Use the number line to find how long Jason spent traveling to Brooklyn. So if I remember this one, now in my case I simply looked and went 1, 2, 3, 4, aha, 15, because I knew that trick that an hour divided into 4, 1 hour divided by 4 equals 15 minutes. Or 60 divided by 4 equals 15. Okay? Now, let's get to work on this. We'll start the red dot. We count by 15. It's 15, 20, 15, 30, 45, an hour, hour 15, an hour 30, an hour 45. So, that's how they said it. I got 1 hour, 45 minutes. Let's see what they did. They did a similar method, so they did a little bit of, well, not cheating, but they first said that's 1 hour right there. Okay? And they're right. And this here beforehand is 15 minutes. From 9:45 to 10 is 15 minutes. And then they knew this was 1 hour here between, so that's an hour 15. Then they knew that between 11 to 11:30 is 30 minutes. So they simply added it that way, if you notice. And they got the same answer as me. I'm so smart. An hour and 45. Okay, so here's the work you're going to be doing today. You're going to be going through these here questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, only 7 questions. A little bit more than expected, but still. You have a number line. Make sure you pay attention to these numbers here. It talks about how long it takes him to clean his apartment. It took him how much time. Looks like here, you might want to read carefully. It looks like you might have to do some subtraction there, okay? Down here, we have a clock. And you're talking about what time she left her house. Sorry, guys. And it's talking about what time, and then here it tells you what time she got there. So you have to do a little bit of adding time. Okay, that means moving this hand that way. Okay. Oops, excuse me, I read that wrong. I'm going the wrong way on that one. This one here, Wendy left her house. That means it's before this one. See, 3. If you notice, it's 3:20. Let's say 3:27. Okay, so this is subtraction work. some obvious things are if it's left at 315, gets at 327, it's subtraction work. It's probably not going to be A. That's too big. Okay. Here's another number 3 is more elapsed time. Went to lunch at 12:15, started right here, ended at 1 o'clock. Now my suggestion would be to simply count by 5s to go through this one. Okay? Pretty easy. Here we have a number line. Now if you notice, the real question is, what's the blocks? How much is each tick mark right there? Okay? That's the biggie. Now I'm looking at going 1, 2, 3, 4 tick marks between 1 hour. What could that mean? How much time? How much is 1/4? That's what we're saying. 4 tick marks. Or more accurately, let me erase this and explain it again. Number 4 is saying to us 1 hour, 60 minutes divided by 4 because there's 4 tick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 groups. So, how much is each tick mark? And then count the times from here. Count the tick marks from here all the way to here. Okay? This should be very easy and rather similar. This one here, Steve's math homework took 17 minutes. His science homework took him 22 minutes. How much time did it take Steve to finish his math and science? I'm going to leave it alone right there for you. It just says and. Should be easy. It took Ruby, as long as you remember what and means, you should be able to solve that one. It took Ruby 23 minutes to make meatballs and 29 minutes to make tomato sauce. How much time did it take Ruby to make meatballs and tomato sauce combined? Guys, 5 and 6 are the same type of problem. Same formula for both of them. Number 7, what time is it? 50 minutes after 7:55. There's a clue word, after. And they're asking for an hour time, see? So you have to do some, I bet you're going to say adding, hopefully. Alright, I hope you guys are successful with this one. I hope you have an easy time with this. Please do your best. Alright, talk to you later. Bye-bye.